gutsy effort. You know, so many top line players missing tonight to just grind that out and answer all the challenges thrown at you.
Yeah, it was. Ronnie was on a nice edge after quarter time, really, because they put us under a fair bit of pressure, the Kangaroos. I didn't think we handled their tackling pressure too well, and it was something that was an ongoing challenge throughout the course of the night. So for our midfield brigade and probably our key pillars up either end in Norts and Lobby, just to really sort of stand up in that last quarter and give us some momentum, hit the scoreboard, and some of the boys are in different roles. It's encouraging to be able to come away with a win.
Did you have to, I mean, they were winning clearances and contested balls up until half time. Did you really have to kind of make a point of getting down and dirty?
Yeah, we did. Peter, was the glaring thing in the game, and we're not used to such a significant differential in the opposition's favour. Didn't centre bounce. We were vulnerable. They did some things with their numbers, and we didn't manage what we were doing with our balance around the stoppage, and yeah, they were definitely on top with that. And we didn't feel at times. I mean, in the end, they've had 17 marks inside 50, and we've only had 12. And I think if you track back over the 17 that they took, a lot of them probably would have been hit-up marks in space, and even that, you know, those short-range turnovers where we've kicked it into fingers and it's gone straight back the other way. And so credit to them, they were good around that at the source, at the stoppage, and then they counted pretty well at times. So I think both teams squandered some opportunities, but yeah, to hold sway in that last quarter when there was a lot of fatigue round one, it's a good sign for our lads.
He's done it before, but it seemed just from watching on that Libba kind of lifted early in that last quarter to make sure that you did get a sense of it.
Yeah, we felt that Libba did lift, and he was going okay. I mean, his first game as official captain of the footy club tonight. We made a big deal of that before the game, and just his credentials, his character, who he's been over his journey, and so yeah, in the end, when we needed a little bit of a pulse, felt like he and Ed, Joel Frazier, you know, some of those boys around the ball, they really helped us get over the line in the end.
Just Ed's performance, you know, with Bont and Treloar obviously missing, for him to really step up to the occasion and play such a leading role in that.
Yeah, well, he got us going early, Ronnie. There's no doubt the penetration in his game, and whether he's connecting inside 50 or kicking them himself, and just his speed to get out and create. So that was important for us. And then, yeah, they needed some help though, because I think en masse North Melbourne's midfield were on top. And so that's where, you know, the sharing of the load, while, you know, we've got some experience out, that's not going to mend itself this week. You know, that's going to continue on. So it's promising that Sando was able to stand up late. Joel Frazier did his bit. Matt Kennedy did his bit. James Harms did his bit. You know, Riley West spent some time up around the stoppage and a centre bounce, and Josh Dolan even ended up at the stoppage or two. So, you know, we're going to need to do that, and that's a good thing when you consider how much fatigue is in these games early on, especially when you're playing some kids for the first time. They're going to struggle to last a full quarters. So unfortunately, we couldn't bring Artie on for one of the younger guys who was fatiguing. Yeah, we made our way through it.
How's Luke Cleary?
Luke's headed off to hospital. So I can't give you much other than that. You know, he'll you know, obviously be in concussion protocols for a little while, and ASAP will let you know what's happening with Luke, and James the same. He, you know, we feel like he's got he may have a fracture in his jaw, so he's headed off for an X-ray, and so we'll let you know as soon as possible with that one.
How did you see the incident? Sorry, how did you see the incident with Luke and Jackson Archer?
With Luke, well, I came down out of the box after that because the game was sort of really on the line and there was 6 or 7 minutes left. But God, from the box, it almost looked like, remember when we used to watch Happy Days and and every now and then they'd have some odd characters in it, Leather Tuscadero, who was Susie Quattro, and Pinky Tuscadero. I mean, you can't make light of this, but you remember the Malachi brothers, the Malachi Crunch?
Yeah, of course I do.
From where I was, it just looked like just a bad crash. Players went hard, and Luke's come off second best. So I haven't seen anything in slow motion, but hopefully he's okay, and he recovers quickly. But as I said, we'll let you know ASAP.
I know you can't say much in terms of, you've just said it, but given it was such a shocking clash and everyone was kind of concerned about him, he is okay in terms of structurally and so on?
Yeah, our crew, think that he's, well, you can't, how can you tell, hey?
Yeah.
But he was responsive enough on the ground for them to be optimistic.
Rory Lobb also seemed to play a big role, particularly when James went down, and even before that, because he came off at half-time with what looked like ribs or whatever it was.
Yeah, he did. He was a bit battered and bruised at the end there, Lobby, but he made it to the end, and I reckon he might not sleep well tonight because I think he's a little bit sore. But I think he's come out of the game with discomfort more than anything. Don't think there's an injury there, but as I said, really needed him to stay the course after we lost James and play on Nick Larkey a bit more, and so and in that way we sort of lose that sort of intercept game of his, and he'll probably learn a bit from tonight too. Getting late to some of those contests, and sometimes fists are going to be better than intercept marks, and he hasn't been there long, but he was pretty critical for us tonight.
But just one more on that collision with Cleary. Do you expect that one to get looked at by the MRO, or do you feel it was just?
I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, sometimes when a player's running that fast for the ball and then the player ends up on the ground, and I didn't see, like Luke was competing against, that's why it looked like a bad crash, because there was 2 or 3 players there, mostly, well, they were all North Melbourne players, weren't they, other than Luke?
Yeah.
And I, at that point in time, I didn't know he'd caught one in the head, but, sometimes when a player's running that fast for the ball, a slide under rules there as well, so you don't know which way it's going to go. I haven't slowed it down, but I imagine it's going to be okay.
I was going to say, huge game for the club next week, 100 years, MCG, potentially a record crowd. Like, how big a build-up do you expect for that game?
Well, I think our club will build it. We've been building it up for a while, I think, Pete. We've got the 100 years with the logo pretty much plastered everywhere. But this is, as you point out, we play Collingwood. It's been organised for the MCG. Obviously, Collingwood being such a powerful club in our competition, you're guaranteed to get their parochial crowd there, and obviously they've come off a really big win as well tonight against Port, so they'll be up and about. And for our folk, for all of our supporters, rusted on or new, I said the other day to someone, I said to you, Pete, actually, when you asked me, I said, what's your message to your supporters, and what would be the one thing you'd say to the Western Bulldogs establishment, or the Western Bulldogs people at large? And it would be, to thank everyone for their commitment and contribution and love for the Dogs, because it was a time when it wasn't certain that we'd be here, and now we're a flourishing club in a good position on and off the field, and a lot of people have contributed to that financially and otherwise. And so 100 years for us is, it's a century now of hard work. We were a very successful club in the VFA prior to that, winning lots of premierships. I think it was 8 or 9, and winning the premiership the year before we came into the competition, which was obviously 1925, I think it was. I hope I'm doing my sums. And so it's just it's a big week of celebration, and we'll hopefully carry some momentum into that game against the Pies. Short turnaround now, so we'll need to get some fluids in and have a sleep.
Do you think anyone will come back from the injury list for that game, or probably not?
I don't think anyone's due back this week, Ronnie. A few boys played okay in the Footscray practice match against Werribee, so we'll consider those lads. And there's two obvious changes there. Hopefully we don't need two anymore, but we'll see. We'll process that during the week. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.